Welcome back to Nature Venture. I'm your host, Amalia Alduenda. Last week, I was sharing with you guys a little bit about myself and how I came to be here with you all. On today's episode, I want to share with you some of the mystical experiences that I've experienced through the trees with the Arcturians and the plant realm. So I figure I should tell you then the first story of how I became a tree channel. Now, a lot of things had happened prior to this of me awakening my kundalini, my opening my chakras, and being attuned into the plant realm. A few months before, I was in a temazcal where I was officially initiated into the plant realm in the four directions. Even though, yes, growing up, I did go into the temazcal many, many times. This particular initiation was me now really taking this path and saying I accept it and I'm going to walk it. And that ceremony welcomed me into many, many different dimensions, and it was very beautiful. So that plus becoming certified with Kundalini Reiki and going through that another initiation with opening up my senses to my psychic abilities. And plus, ever since I was a teenager, I also took very seriously the lesson from Buddha. Looking at Buddha's story, he went to sit under a tree, meditated for 40 days, and reached nirvana. Now, I swear, if you practice that yourself, you're going to reach new levels of enlightenment within yourself. And the more and more that you practice that, the more and more that you are attuned to those energies and those spirits of the trees that have this profound healing within them. So doing all of this together really propelled forward my channeling. And so one day, this is now the story of how I began to channel the trees. I was at my grandmother's house and I was doing a ceremony with the full moon. And I remember having this sensation of just wanting to go down onto the Mother Earth and kind of do an energetic purge. And so I did that. And as I was doing that, once I was coming, liberating myself of that, I was just feeling my soul full of so much light. Like if all the light of the moon had become my body and I was just this body of light. And so I stand up from that. I'm trying to ground and I'm trying to not feel so quantum, like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. I'm trying to ground. And all of a sudden I start to feel these like words, like this sensation is happening where roots are coming onto my feet, growing upwards, from the ground. And I was with one of my friends in front of me. And so I reach out to them and I begin to channel. And I am just like, okay, imagine that there are roots growing up our feet and going through our body. And we're becoming this, pillar of light. And I can't quantify, really describe the experience. It's just a very mystical thing that happened where once you have these encounters, then you can really perceive the depth of what our mind is capable of when we allow ourselves to connect with all these different fragmented parts of ourself, of our soul. And it was really beautiful. And that was the first time that I became a pillar of light through the trees. And ever since then, I started to share tree meditations with my friends. At first, it was just a couple of us, like 2, 3. Then it became 7, 8 of us with my family. And then I put on some retreats. Last year, I did 3 retreats, 2 here at the Nature Sanctuary in Lagunitas and 1 in Sedona, where I shared tree meditations with people as this full-on ceremony. When I share a tree meditation, it is essentially a chakra balancing meditation with connecting into the etheric root system. The etheric roots are, as they sound, the roots energy that has healing properties, not just, with our body, but if you didn't know, when we spend only 30 minutes of being in nature barefoot, your whole body goes through an entire detoxification process where, your body reduces cortisol, it reduces anti-inflammatory properties, it reduces pain, it reduces stress and anxiety, and it really helps balance and alkalinize your whole system, which we are all electromagnetic beings, and just like the trees, we need to also be grounding. So if you haven't been spending enough time in nature, please go do so and hug a tree. But anyway, back to the story. So I started to share these tree meditations at these retreats and events, and all of a sudden other events and retreats started to invite me out to share with them tree meditations. And it's been such a lovely journey. And honestly, I can't believe how lucky I have been to been able to now guide hundreds of people through tree meditations. That is so gnarly. I never thought, that would be a thing, but I'm so happy that that's my life right now, sharing the tree meditations with you. Thank you for being here and listening to this and watching this and writing this journey with me. And sharing these tree meditations is really something that I would love to keep doing for the rest of my life. There's so many beautiful trees and sacred trees all around the world that I have yet to visit. And I feel it is my mission to go to these sacred trees and sites and connect with community and have beautiful ceremonies honoring and connecting the grid. And with that, let's take a pause, and I'll see you in a bit.
La Fundación 1 a 1 se encuentra legalmente establecida en los Estados Unidos, con personalidad jurídico-legal bajo el nombre Fundación 1 a 1 Foundation. Su dirección es 11726 209 Street, Lakewood, California, 90715. Su email, the1a1foundation@gmail.com. Su teléfono 213-802-7431. Su página web www.1a1foundation.org. Para donaciones a través de Patreon es de IGEWE. A través de PayPal de the1a1foundation@gmail.com. Su banco, Bank of America. Cuenta corriente número 32 51 69 38 5202. Routing number 02 60 09 593 para transferencias.
Welcome back. I've put together a small video for you guys showcasing some of the past tree meditations. Take a look.
For loving yourself, all of California, and all the trees in the nearby states, and the whole world. The whole world is united by our roots, by our love. Remember, that has asked for our help. Now, we're going to begin feeling. Y respirando profundamente, puedes ir moviendo tus pies, tus manos. Regresa tu mano a tu corazón. Pedir a nuestros seres anteriores que han venido y luego ya vamos a pasar a los bebés. Y ahí se encuentra el corazón de ella. Con cada respiro, esta energía va bajando, a llegar al corazón. En cada respiro.
In that video, you're able to hear me speaking both in English and Spanish. And being a bilingual, it's so beautiful to be able to share these tree meditations in both languages and both cultures and experience how through the different, vocals of the languages, there's a different depth to it and different experience. And working here in Mexico with the shamans down here, they're able to add such a grand effect and truly turn it into a ceremony when they bring along their drums and their different instruments. And it's some of my favorite tree meditations when I get to share it with the shamans here in Mexico and do them in Spanish, but also English as well. They're the same. And hopefully one day, when we go around the world, we can have interpreters and share them in all the languages. Or if you are watching this and you speak a different language, I encourage you to share a tree meditation with your community as well. That way we can all, hug a tree and something that really fascinates me is witnessing everyone's evolution and journey through the therapy of hugging a tree in the tree meditation. I often find that a lot of the people that come to these tree meditations find themselves in deep stress and anxiety and depression, and they're really longing for a way to feel that they belong or feel loved or feel nurtured, right? And so they come back into this reconnection with Mother Nature. And that's really the biggest takeaway from all that I'm sharing here with you guys today is if you ever feel yourself in one of these states of mind where you need to remember your connection as oneness to everything and you need some support. I know not all of us are lucky enough to have our family or friends around, but nature is always here with us, and we can always go hug a tree or a plant that's near you, or take a tea and connect into the plant realm and feel the love that is present through all of that. Also, a lot of the times in the tree meditations, when I ask for testimonies at the end, or we come into the sharing circle and share our experiences, I am told often the amount of colors that people see. And if you've ever received Reiki, it's kind of a similar thing where you are experiencing those colors. And I think it's partially because when I am going through each chakra and we're cleaning and balancing, I am naming the color of that space. And so it helps them visualize, right? So it could be because of that. They're very visual. A lot of people have sensations. So people can feel tingling in their hands, and that's like the electricity. They can feel the energy flowing right from the tree to their hand and becoming this energy circuit. A lot of people also feel very emotional. A lot of the times we all end up crying at the end because it's just, you feel this profound unity and oneness with the tree and your body and your spirit, and it's very beautiful. So a lot of people end up crying and feeling this deep. Also, it happens because these people have this, stuck energy, and they don't know how to liberate themselves. They don't know how to be vulnerable. But when we come into the trees and when we start the ceremony, I let them know, this space is your safe space to experience whatever the tree and you want to experience. Just because there's people next to us doesn't, don't limit yourself from your experience. And I really open this space of vulnerability. And I suggest that for you as well. If you're going to take on this practice, the trees teach us the biggest lesson of all is be okay being stared at, standing out, be okay, standing alone like the trees, right? And then we walk past them and we look at them and people judge them or people, compliment them. But the tree is unbothered. The tree is centered, focused on their growth, focused on being that pillar of light, um, and that's really one of the lessons that gets taught to us from the trees through the tree meditation. And that's how people are able to allow themselves to have this such experience, right? So aside from colors, people have also told me that family members that have passed on have come to them in visions and communicated with them, or they felt their presence. I've also have received this myself. A year ago on the last Dia de los Muertos, I went to go hug a tree and I felt the presence of one by one of my relatives from the other side hugging me through this tree branch, and it was so beautiful. I highly recommend you do that as well and feel them nurturing you through the trees. So people can see spirits. People have also had energetic purges. Excuse me. People have also had energetic purges. This happened one time here at the sanctuary. We were working with the shamans doing a big tree ceremony. And one of the participants had a lot of, these stress and anxiety, and we can call it energetic vampires carrying around, or, energetic parasites. And when we connect into the tree realm, we're connecting with the Arcturians as well, who are a loving ET race that help us remove these things, right? And so he kind of, he was very aware of what was happening, but all of a sudden, this was kind of towards the end of the ceremony, and this kid, he was a kid, he was like 15. He, just walked off and sat down and started to pour and have a very deep experience. And so surrounding him came around, 4-5 different healers, and we just all started to channel energy into him, and he was releasing verbally to us, like, I've just been carrying all of this with me, and oh my God, like yada yada yada. And it just goes to show the depth of the experience that can take place, right? Other experiences that have happened with the tree meditation is having out-of-body experiences. Now, this one is a really cool story that I have a video that I could show you with, actually. But this was on my last retreat in Sedona. I did a tree meditation with this beautiful tree that was there. And one of the girls, she was part of my team, actually. She is a CE5 facilitator, which CE5 is the making contact to ET races, and seeing them, communicating with them. And she's psychic. Her name is Grace Hayes, and she's really, really cool. But her experience, she, has a very open channel. She's a psychic. She's always communicating with these other forces of the universe. So for her and someone that has this mass Kundalini awakening already, it's very simple, I feel, to have these interactions. But in her tree meditation experience, she said that the energy got so intense that she felt she was going to faint. And actually, I have had another person faint, which is another story that I'll tell you afterwards. Very intense stuff can happen here. So she feels all this energy coming in, and she says, but instead of falling back, I felt I got pulled into the tree, and her third eye came in contact with the trunk. And she said she just felt her body go up, into this channel of light and feel what it feels for our alien friends to materialize and take on the wholeness of, all existence to I don't know how to explain it. We're going to cut to the video, actually.
I literally had an out-of-body experience during the tree meditation. So, oh geez, how do you even begin? It's like there was so much energy just pumping throughout my entire being that I got lightheaded and I almost passed out, but the tree wouldn't let me go because I had to do this, and this was a part of my journey and I had to see it through no matter how uncomfortable I was feeling. So literally, I was looking for you to try to be I was trying to talk too, I need you, and I was I can't do this, and I couldn't, words couldn't even come out, and I couldn't see you, and then it's the world around me went to static, and I was I'm literally going to collapse. But instead of falling backwards, the tree, it was almost like it pulled me in. And so I literally just collapsed against the tree, and I had my third eye against the bark. And it was in a sense, I became the tree, and it was just, I was feeling the anger of what we've done to the planet. It's I was rooted, I was a part of the tree, and my roots were connecting to the microbial root system that's just inches beneath our feet. It's I was everywhere, everything all at once, and I was feeling that all at once, and it's the most insane thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I've been on board a spaceship. So yeah,
that's a great way to end it.
So as you can see, hugging a tree is not just a physical experience, but a very much spiritual experience. And if you open yourself to it, you can have a very profound connection, just like Grace did. And wow, every time I hear her experience, it reminds me why I do what I do, and the awesome mystical experiences that are truly happening for all of us here at this time, as we are all, awakening and connecting our grid as one into this unity. And I wanted to tell you about this other experience that happened. So here in Tecate, I have been invited to this beautiful place named Rancho La Puerta with Mercadito Cuchumá, which is ran by my friend Carla Hernandez and her sister Alejandra. And I've been fortunate enough to share tree meditations and participate in the Mercadito, the market, with tarot readings and, a pop-up shop of Lagunitas Organics products. It's always so much fun to be there. Well, at this location, I've shared now 3 tree meditations, I believe, and I've done them at different trees. And I find it fascinating that the first time that I shared a tree meditation here, the trees, when I go to a location and I'm going to do a tree meditation, I connect to the land. I let them know, hi, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. Who of you would like to participate and help me with this, journey? And the trees then tell me this one. So I connected to this one tree, and I honestly, at first, I wasn't sure about that location, but I asked again. I was like, "Are you sure?" And they said this one. And the reason I didn't particularly like that location was because there was a couple of trash cans just a couple feet away, and there was many other trees, and bigger trees as well. But I listened, and the thing about this location is that it was the tree here, and maybe 3 feet behind this one tree, there was a bardita. There was a little, a stack of rocks as this wall, right? And it came in very handy because during the tree meditation, there was a girl that was standing in that area, and she had an experience where when we reached the clearing of the third eye chakra, she actually began to faint, which had, never happened to me before. And thankfully, she was there with her sister, I believe. And so she first leaned back and, made this thud as she hit this wall that was there. And then she just kind of slid down. And then, of course, I stopped the meditation, and I'm like, I heard the noise. I'm like, what? I opened my eyes. I'm deep in trance, right? And I opened my eyes. I see her halfway sliding onto the floor. I'm like, oh my God. I come down onto the floor, and I'm just like helping her, trying to like wake her up or sit her up or something, while also not freaking out the other people that someone just fainted. And so everyone is still like in their own space. So I'm taking care of her on the floor, and I look up and I see these people still, in their own meditation. And so I see that her sister, she begins to also help her, and we're helping her. She's waking up. She's okay. And so then I continue on with the meditation, and instead of, furthering, going on beyond and extending it, I quickly bring it into a closing into the heart, and then allow everyone to just sit in silence into their hearts, like bringing their hands into their heart. Meantime, I am still seeing what's happening with this girl that fainted. And I asked her, was this your first ever meditation chakra balancing? And she says, no, I regularly meditate. I regularly do meditations like this. I don't know what happened. And I still don't know what to make of that experience. All that I really felt and think is, well, she must have had something very strong in her that, when it came to clearing her body, the Arcturians and the tree really did something very fast to her, and it was too much for her psyche to process. So her body had that experience, is what I would say. But I would really love, if you're an expert or if this has ever happened to you, please share with me some of these things, some of your insights to the situation, or to how to perhaps avoid this from happening again. Because she didn't have any other medical issues or anything like that could have, resulted in her having that experience. So I don't know what happened there. But I hope you enjoyed these stories of these tree meditations, and having taken a look at what I do and having enjoyed taking a look at a little bit about my life, sharing these tree meditations. With that being said, I would love to invite you to the tree meditation tour. where I'm going to be going around sacred sites and different trees, starting first here in the US and Mexico, and then hopefully one day going around the world and connecting with all of you. So if you'd like to join and be part of that, the next locations are going to be the Redwoods here in California. I'm going to also do another tree meditation with retreats later on in the year in spring here at the sanctuary. And I'm going to do another one in Sedona because I just absolutely love Sedona and working with all my quantum friends up there. So if you'd like to take a look at that, please look it up at the treemeditationtour.com. And I would love to connect with you one-on-one and have these experiences and just really dive deep into the whole realm of the plants and the trees together. With that being said, if you've noticed, I've been wearing this tree hugger shirt that I actually made, and it's on our shop at lagunitasorganics.com. And this is what it says. Someone who practices hugging trees to connect to its energy, nature lover, green activist, recognizes trees as conscious beings. So that is what that looks like, tree hugger. So you can wrap your enjoyment of tree hugging to the world and encourage others to hug more trees. I hope that through this episode, you've been able to gain some insight into the healing power that takes part when we connect with the trees and really recognize it as eco-consciousness and a tool for therapy and really aiding in not just your biological health, with all the benefits that come from grounding, but also to take all the lessons that come from the trees and apply them to, find our center, be grounded, and really shine our lights and continue to, like the roots, be one, hold one another, support one another, and be the best stewards and guardians of Earth that we can be. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Nature Venture. I'm your host, Amalia Alduenda, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, Tree Hugger.